Hey everybody, I'm Mark Steiner and you're listening to Mark of the Maker. This is episode 122 of the show, and we're going to do kind of a fun thing this time that some listeners may find of interest. We have lots of knife maker listeners, so we'll be interested to hear about this one. I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback on this this episode. Let's make sure we...
Hopefully.
Yeah, right. We got a whole crew here with us tonight. We got everybody here. So we have Mr. Tom Crine.
Hey, guys.
We have Mr. Sean Kendrick.
Hey, hey.
I love the enthusiasm. Maybe have Mr. Michael Birch.
Hey, hey, hey. One more hey, so you just got to be better than me.
See, he's like that. He's like that.
One-uppington.
Man, it's good to have the band back together again. When's the last time we all recorded together?
Been too long, man. It's been a crazy summer.
1977.
Episode 119, which is like 6 weeks ago. So,
Lord.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
And I don't think I was in on that one.
That was the PNWCI rap.
Yeah.
Oh no, Sean wasn't in on that one.
Neither was I.
What?
Yeah. It's good to be missed.
Yeah. Blade 2024, was that the last one? Oh, I got my notes are all mixed up.
Maybe I was going to say, I thought I did all the PNWCI.
Yeah. You didn't do the Blade 2024 maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Okay. Well, so much for having notes on the shows. So yeah, we're gonna get into a bunch of different stuff, and probably dig deeper into why the hell are my notes all screwed up. But first, we need to thank some fine folks. Sean, you want to start?
Well, first off, I'd like to thank all of the folks who support us over on Patreon. You guys are long-suffering and easy listening to us, and we totally appreciate it. Thank you all so much. You do so much to keep the show going, to keep microphones moving, and you really help keep the lights on, and we appreciate you guys. We appreciate the enthusiasm you always bring and your loyalty to us, and I can't state it enough. Thank you. And if any of you guys would consider maybe going over to Patreon and pledging us $1 or $2 a month, every bit helps and every bit's appreciated. Just go to Patreon and search Mark of the Maker. And if you can help out, we'd really appreciate it. And also, if you guys would like to help out and do it on the free, if you leave us a star review or even better, a little written review on your podcast provider of choice for the show, it helps get us in the algorithm. It helps get us in front of fresh new people who may not have heard about the show. And hopefully it can help bring new people to the show and into the knife community. And like I said, it's totally free, just takes a few minutes of your time, and it's a big help to us. So if you would consider doing that, we would certainly appreciate it.
You know what they say, Sean? 9 times out of 10, it's the algorithm.
Yep. And I sasaid it's free, but there ain't nothing fucking free in this world, so.
Just a couple minutes of your time is all. A couple minutes of your time.
Which you'll never get back.
Stop reminding them about stuff, man.
I'm honest to a fault.
Apparently you are. All right, so I'll take our next one. Next one are our friends. I was going to call them our fine furry friends, but that's just their icon, people, their logo, Giant Mouse Knives. They're at giantmouse.com, and we want to say congratulations to those boys. They won Best EDC Knife at Blade West 2024 just recently, about 10 days ago. I see the article was written, with their Sonoma V2 Titanium, which is pretty sexy. Mm-hmm. I'm digging the engraving, the whole thing. It's a really cool looking knife. So go check them out, giantmouse.com. And big thanks to all of our friends over there for their support. They've, I think, basically committed to what amounts to the whole season with us. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for helping us out.
You guys rock.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of cool because they're makers I respect, and I respect their work, and they want to fucking give us some of their money.
Right.
Yeah, I'm humbled, really.
Absolutely. Sean, back to you.
All right. Our next sponsor are the Terzolas, Bob and Sue's. Head over to terzola.net and you can get on the wait list for the ATCF OGs in black micarta or titanium once they're back in stock. You can check out the first 3 episodes of the Sharp Life video series for free. You can get on the wait list to be part of the shop talk thing they've got going on, or you can just link over to the Knife Wife podcast and check out what Bob and Sue's have going on there. Man, they've got many irons in the fire, and they're all pretty fucking cool. So head over to terzola.net and tell them Sean sent you, and that's TERZUOLA.net.
They're all pretty fucking cool. That's a solid review.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, man. I just calls them like I sees.
That's right. You know what I really dig? One, I dig ProTech autos, right? Because they fire like a monster. And they have some ProTech Terzola ATCF automatics. ProTech
cool.
built over at Blade HQ. And I put a little, remind me when these are back in stock. And bam!
Bam.
They're back. So I got a
You
good
know-
one.
You know who else has ProTech?
Who?
KnifeJoy.com.
Oh! There you go.
I'm getting
I'm turning around my webpage.
the potty award for that segue. We're also sponsored by KnifeJoy.com. They've got tons of knives, ProTech, Spyderco, lots of production. They got some customs. You can sign up and get like exclusive notification when stuff comes in. And you know what they even have? They have a Boker knife called a Swoopy made by this guy named Birch.
Oh,
Fantastic
really?
knife. Oh, yeah, yeah. Go ahead and grab it.
It's a shocker.
But- They're a proud supporter, and we appreciate that very much. It's KnifeJoy.com.
All right. Well, I just put in a notify when me when available for a ProTech a tuxedo with black bolsters and ivory handles, and that'll be perfect because I got a couple of those. That's a little theme for ProTech.
Oh, dude, in total class. They look so clean, so nice.
Yeah, and you know what fires like a bad mother.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well played, Michael. Well done. Tom, you got the last one. Let's see if you can top that.
I can't. Those guys they're like pro level. I just want to give a shout out to my friend Josh Wee over at Paladin 33. They're a US based company making stuff in the States. Bags, EDC carry stuff, gear for long rifles. Really good guys. They've been going to most of the shows lately. You can find them on Instagram. It's Paladin_33. They have a website, which is paladin33.com. I use their gear quite a bit. I've got a couple of their I don't know what you call them now, fanny packs, shoulder bags, whatever.
Outback bag.
Yeah, well, they've got a couple different ones. I actually have the Outback XL Mark III. I've got a couple of those, and I've got one of the original ones, the Outback, that I gifted my son Jake, and it's a great way to have a little bit of gear on you and carry a full size fighting weapon if you want. Glock 17 fits in the XL just fine, and nobody knows you've got some cool gear. They just posted a cool new concept up on Instagram. It's called the Ewok, I think.
Yeah.
And basically it's a fuzzy Velcro patch friendly Outback. So check them out. Really good quality stuff. Highly recommend them. They're good friends and they're good people.
I like Josh's description in the post on those Ewok bags. It was a CrossFit workout putting it together, and our hands are destroyed.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Yeah, super limited run. They look pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I love my fanny pack. I call it my magic murder bag.
Magic murder bag.
Dude,
I like that.
it's great for like when I walk my dog. I've got full-size gun. You know, my phone fits in there. The little blue bags for picking up after them, and you know, throw a knife and the keys in there, and you don't have anything in your pockets because usually you're wearing like athletic type shorts. So perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Tom is because he's an elite athlete.
Yeah, not me. I'm not the one sending like, "Hey, I'm running" type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't ever record that because it only happens if somebody's chasing me.
Hey, I don't want any
have to
evidence.
record that shit.
Last thing I need is a GPS track of my fleeing. Yeah, my wife and I used a couple of the Outback bags on our recent trip to Europe, and we did a little homemade anti-pickpockety stuff with the bags, and that actually worked out really, really nice. So
They're good stuff. They work great. So yeah. He makes a little like a money belt. I've got one of those also for like shows. You can wear it under your shirt.
yeah,
Cool materials, really state of the art stuff, and good people. So I check them out.
Absolutely.
You talking about your European trip and pickpockets? I've just got the picture of this Dickensian gang of children trying to get your shit out of your
Dancing
bank
around
bag.
us, trying to get stuff out.
Street urchins.
Street urchins.
Urchins.
Thwarted by those little S-beaners we got holding the clips together. Ha 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 ha!
You shan't eat tonight, children.
That's right. Stay hungry, fuckers.
Damn.
Yep. Good times. All right. Okay, so it's been a long time since we did the show. We got all the, dude, I missed you, man. We got all that out of the way before we started recording.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we're 30 minutes in, 45.
right. In 5 minutes of actual recording.
Yeah.
What is going on? What does everybody have going on since we haven't talked in a while?
Soccer.
And
Yeah.
more soccer?
Yeah. It's 3 games a week. We're a couple weeks out from being done, but it's been three games a week, lots of practice. High school soccer is no joke, apparently.
It's a lot of running.
Yeah, it is a lot of running. It's good for them, but it's a lot of going. So staying busy, trying to get ready for shows. Personally, I've been, doing some designs that I've had in my head for a long time that I'm finally getting out.
That one with the cool separate inlays is wicked cool, man.
Thank you. That's the one that's been rattling around for
Great
a long
idea.
time.
Great.
It's little inlays kind of holding a gap together in my head. But making everything work and fit was the problem. So a lot of staring at the computer and then, the regular CNC repairs and,
Yes.
you guys know how it's like you're driving a car and you hear something that doesn't sound right. You're like, that's something's wrong. That's what happened to me. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. The pickup was weird. So did the thing where you just take shit apart till you find something that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I kind of did that on my CNC the other day. We our coolant went to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
I hate when
And,
the coolant goes to nothing. Keep going.
Yeah, so I ended up just kept pulling hoses off of it, and I finally found the upfeed hose from the coolant tank.
Yeah.
At post filter was totally full. Like we couldn't blow it out. I had to got a little stainless rod, 3-foot rod, and hammered a little spoon on the end and started digging in there. And it took us about 20 minutes to get it cleaned out. And it was
the
bizarre.
chip management is such a pain in the dick for
right.
what we make, because we make
For
these tiny ass chips and they get in everything. Like I've just resorted to having a clear, pretty open filter that goes right through my right before the pump, so I can just sit there and I can visually see if it's building up, and I can just empty it right there.
Yeah. We basically, to find it, we stripped down like all the hoses, all the everything, the nozzles. We cleaned everything. It runs great now, but now I know a lot more about my CNC than I wanted to.
But it's good for you. I mean, it
No, it
sucks
is
at
good.
the time, but like
It is good.
last year, I think I've had to tear down mine a few times. And to me, I was kind of interested to see what was behind that spindle cover anyway. Because I kind of thought I was going to have to replace the belt, but it looked fine. But
Straight up problem solving.
yeah, it's kind of neat, kind of fun.
Do you do a warm up every day you run it?
No, just haven't had ran for a couple days. In the winter, I do it more.
So I worry about the belt. I've got the 10,000 RPM spindle too, but I do a 20-minute warm up every morning.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything. It's definitely, especially cold weather, shit like that.
Isn't yours a 10,100 RPM spindle, Michael? I don't remember.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's 6,000. And I've just got the one.
The one.
See, God, That was just such a perfect
You
handoff.
teed it up and he didn't even go there.
I'm not,
Whiff.
yeah.
Well,
I
the whole reason that we had
I only
Shop
have
Talk
one.
was so Tom could flex.
I only have one right now too. Also,
What, Tom? Did you say
What?
right now?
You mean what happens later?
I
sorry.
occasionally my wife does that. She'll tee something
Guys
up
are
like she's wanting me to ask, like I'm supposed to respond and say, "Oh, really? No, honey. What? What are you talking about?" And I just refuse to.
I do the same thing.
I'm like, I am not asking.
You want it too much.
That's right. You're trying a little too fucking hard.
Such dicks.
But we gave it to Tom on a platter. Second CNC.
Yeah, I've got another one, a second one ordered, which I'm
Fucking
I'm pretty
Daddy
excited
Warbucks over there.
Mm-hmm.
it's financed, but my other one's paid for, so I figured why not? I mean, they do have some really killer financing right now. It's like in-house, so it's like I'm doing it for 84 months at 2.4 or something like that.
In-house means that goons from Haas show up to your house if you don't pay.
Well, they don't give you the code, so if you don't pay,
Oh yeah,
you can't run your machine.
Right.
So
right.
it's a pretty smart way to do it. I mean, if cars were that way, they wouldn't have to repossess them.
I don't know.
I think that's kind of how we may end up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, so yeah, I got the smallest one they make coming. It's a CM1. It's an interesting machine. I can plug it straight into a 220 outlet.
Yeah, that's
got a
fucking wild.
Yeah, it's got a 20 tool changer and a 30,000 RPM spindle. So
no three phase at all on that.
nope. Plug it straight into a 16 amp 220.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't pull a whole lot. And we're working with Pearson right now. So the holders. So we use the standard size Pearson with the smaller tombstones on our current mill. And it should barely fit, but the T-slots aren't working. So they're actually modeling it, and they're going to modify one of their bases to work on this. If we can figure it out where the probe can mount and we can have a tombstone, the pallet system. So then we could just switch from machine to machine, which would be really cool.
Do you make your own tombstones?
No, I buy them from them.
Why not?
Why don't I make them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I in theory, you can get aluminum and mill the stuff in the bottom. I don't know how I'd hold it though. I guess on another tombstone, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something I've always been curious about and why I've never gone over. I'd love to go over, but it's like I just buy aluminum chunks and hold them in a vise.
Right. And so on our Super Mini Mill 2, we have a vise and a pallet system and the probe. So we can run stuff in the vise or we can run it on the pallet. The pallet's really nice.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anyways, that's what I'm up to. I'm also doing a signature series run on alphas, which I elected to do 50, which sometimes I wonder about myself, but so far we're doing good. We're about a fifth of the way through, so a little more.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I've been up to.
Well, damn you. Now I'm looking at the Haas.
The Haas.
Yeah.
Dude, their financing right now is nuts.
30K tapped into 220. Fuck me.
Yeah. See, I heard that. I'm like, really?
I think Brian Ty has a couple of these, or did. I think this is what he was using. And it's a pretty small footprint too. And you can move it around with a pallet jack if you want.
Yeah, they look tiny, but I mean, I don't make anything fucking big.
That's the thing. For me, it's like, this is an easy way. I don't have a lot of space. This is a way I can add a second spindle. Well, I've been running, I wasn't sure I needed a second mill. And do I need it? Probably not, but I've got projects that I want to get to that I haven't been able to do. And we're going to start some of these new projects straight on this. That's why we're getting it. So, it gives me a second spindle and a small amount of space. and it gives me some finishing options with the 30,000 RPM spindle. We can use smaller tools, get better detail, also better finishes, and yeah.
You don't have to justify it to us, Tom.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
We're your people.
They tell you where they put the probe though, or the OTS,
The what?
the tool setter.
You're talking about the probe that goes on the
Yeah, your tool
table?
setter that goes on the table. You know, like on your mini mill, that's like oddly in a horrible spot.
Oh, where it looks for on the base.
Yeah,
I think you can
it's
move it
that-
around. So mine's not in a really bad place on my Haas currently. Mine's on the back right of the table.
It just seems like they could have scooched it over a little more.
So the part that didn't make any sense to me is 30,000 RPM and you can plug it into the wall. So I'm like, how is that possible? But it's because a mini mill, it has max torque of 45 foot-pounds, 10 horsepower, where the CM1 has 5 horsepower, aka 8 foot-pounds instead of 45. That's
Yeah,
how. Yeah.
And that's why we're wanting to set it up with the pallet system so we can switch from one to the other. So we do the hogging on the Haas we have currently.
Yeah.
And then we move it over and do the smaller, higher speed stuff on the other mill.
Well, shit. Even when you're hogging stuff, you're probably using a 1/4 inch
Fraction.
tool. I mean, that's nothing.
Compared to what these things are able to do. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, you didn't go for the 50,000 RPM upgrade, Tom? Come
Can't
on,
plug
man.
that one into you can, but you have to, it takes more than a 16 amp outlet. And I didn't really see the need for 50,000 because then you have to, even on 30, you have to use different tool holders and stuff. And the tool holders are pricey. We're looking at some of the Rex Fit stuff, and yeah, they start getting
It
crazy.
ain't cheap. Good Lord.
No. Nope.
Yep. I'm just going to say that's not how the all new Corvette ZR1 got to 233 miles an hour, Tom. It's by, I probably don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hashtag
I don't
work
know.
for GM. Okay. What else? What about you, Michael? What do you got going on over there? How many 50 bajillion RPMs you running down there?
Just a 6K.
Just the 6K. Yeah.
What about you, Sean? What do you got going on?
Man, I'm just working on making money and finishing out this year with my head above water.
I should probably try that.
That's a good plan. And with this economy, it's challenging. So everybody that can do it, props.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that's why I'm doing it. I mean, normally I'd be fucking around a little bit and messing with some gun stuff or something, but it's a worrisome state of affairs.
Sometimes you got to put stuff down and focus, which can be boring, but
Talking to me? Fuck.
Don't
That
take
feels
it personal.
directed at
It's
Michael.
not directed at anyone.
no one in general or no one in particular. No.
I've definitely made less knives this year than I've ever made. It is wild how unproductive I've been.
He's only comfortable saying that because Abby didn't listen to this show.
Exactly. I mean, not that she's not fully aware.
Yeah, she's over there throwing her hands up in the air. No, son, I am painfully aware.
I see your PayPal is quite empty.
They should be painfully fucking aware when tax time rolls around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All kinds of dirt's going to come out in the wash.
Yeah. I had a friend who was a car dealer guy. He sold cars for a living at a new car shop, and they would always get these spiffs, right? Like sale bonus things, and they would kick it. They would kick to him in cash, and that shit would hit at the end of the year. His wife would do the taxes, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and where'd it go?
Where's this money? We got to pay tax on this money." Oh no, I'm looking at some guitar stuff with it, and I don't, yeah, good times. So I'm looking at this knife that Tom was talking about. So I'm not sure what model this is, because I think there's a couple, but I would almost call this knife the Stitch. Somebody else has that name, I think, but I like the thought that it looks like it's stitched together with these little inserts.
Oh, the one I'm working on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It reminds me kind of You know how they take like a crack in a table and they
Yeah.
put the
Yep.
little,
Bow ties in there?
yeah.
Yeah. That was the first iteration drawing I did. They were little bow ties,
Oh, nice.
but I couldn't work it out to fit the shape.
Yeah.
I actually made the shape of the handle after I made the inlays.
So for the kids at home who are not Birch Tree Blades Instagram enthusiasts, why don't you explain what this is that you're working on?
I don't really know how to explain it.
That's why I asked you to explain it.
It is, I got to grab it to look at it. It's got, like I do sometimes with a titanium inner liner. Where basically the liner is inside the chassis of the knife, the chassis, I guess, the main handle.
Yeah.
And I use that to pin the chassis between outer inlays and the liner. And on this one, I've got this kind of large gap run on both sides. And then I have these inlays that stretch between them.
Span the gap.
Yeah, span it. So it kind of looks like empty space, but they're also inlaid into the sides. And then they will get mother of pearl inlays inside those.
Right.
And then on the clip, it hits one of those and has a mother of pearl inlay on top of that to make it look like it is one of those.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And hopefully it all works. Who the fuck knows?
This is straight exhibit.
Yeah.
Bro, we heard you and your friends like inlays on your inlays.
Pretty much. That's kind of the place I've been lately in my head.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to get out until you do them. I think that's also a big part of the lack of a lot of knives this year.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think the complexity has like gone out the roof.
Yeah, it's gotten a bit wild, but I greatly enjoy it. So I don't know.
This is like a
that's what you
combination of stuff, right? So it's like Mokutai or Zergtai or something is the main handle, or is this all for a future unveiling and I'm going to spoil it?
No, it's a dark Damascus
Okay.
handle, zirconium, and then it's going to have a plain blade, just CPM 154 blade.
Yeah.
Try to keep that nice and clean.
Right.
I know that doesn't go as well, but I like that much more.
Right.
Sometimes too much. It's like,
It
I
is
don't
too
know.
much to me sometimes.
if the blade and the handle are both busy, it pulls away, in my opinion.
Yeah. And for me, there's a lot of like spacing issues that really will jack with your head. And I made a post about that, I think on Instagram or somewhere, where I was talking about like inlays, what is correct as far as like actual spacing from the exact edges and what looks correct. And they aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
It's weird how our mind visualizes space.
Yep, for sure. Michael taught me that lesson one time when I visited. He's like, where do you think these screws should go? I'm like, well, let's get a little measuring ruler here, and one should go here and one should go here. He goes, oh yeah, put it on there with a pencil. It's like, yup, that looks fucked up. Yep, why is that? And he's like, I don't know, but how about if I say it looks like it probably should go right about here, and then maybe right over here. It's like, you are not wrong, my friend.
Yeah, you see that sometimes with folks that just get into CAD or whatever, start doing it. You're like, oh, that's exactly offset.
Right.
You're like, doesn't know. Sometimes it looks cool, sometimes not so much.
Right.
And it's funky.
It is funky. This piece will also be funky and cool.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think it'll work. There's a lot of months of thinking, drawing, doing, and then you're like, well, shit, I hope it works.
Right.
We'll see.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Should we actually get to the subject of
Yeah,
our
I know.
podcast,
Someone's
or-
going to comment, oh, you fucking guys talk about ads and shooting the shit, but you didn't even get to the content till 30 minutes in. But you know what? It's our show.
We'll
Technically,
give
we're
you your
talking about-
fucking money back you paid for listening if you don't like it.
Not you, Patreon, though. We love you.
No.
Well, they're not the ones who are going to complain.
That's true.
That
That's
is true.
Very true. All right. So this episode is 100% Tom's fault. If you don't like it, just for reference. And
That's okay.
just so everybody knows, just so we're all aligned on what's happening here.
Right.
And what are we talking about, Tom?
Oh, I mean, let's say you want to make knives,
Right.
right?
So you want to make knives. Some of our listeners make knives, so it'd be really interesting, like we talked before in our Facebook group or Instagram, hear their feedback or suggestions on some of this stuff. So Tom, why don't you explain what we're going to get into?
So this idea actually I got from one of my customers, one of the members in my group. They asked if there was a podcast episode on this. I said, I don't think so, but there should be. And so we started brainstorming, and this is what we came up with. And basically, if we were having to start out now and we had a budget, which we won't really keep, but I mean, in theory, we have a budget. I know you cheaters. So yeah, we were like, hey, if you had $1,500 to start and you were going to make knives, what would you do? And then we upped it to $5,000 because that would kind of include the $1,500 plus a grinder, and
Yeah. Sean, say $5,000 the way he should have said it.
5,000.
$5,000.
5,000.
How you want it delivered?
Yeah.
$5,000.
Exactly. That's what I was looking for.
So yeah, that's our picks. We gotta lay out what we're gonna get. So yeah, should be fun.
So 2 layers of picks, starter set basically, and then like if you really wanted to lay some cash into it and start with better stuff, how might you spend it? And multiple spirals within each, I'm sure.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I've had people ask me lots of times over the years, hey, Mark, you're an engineer guy, you like drawing stuff and make some stuff and sell some stuff. And are you going to make knives? And Michael's asked me that before too. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. But if I was going to start and I had a budget of $1,500, what should I do? Aside from Tom Mayo's advice, which is go beg for your job back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't quit your job starting with $1,500 probably. Maybe.
The easiest way to make $1 million making knives is to start with 2.
Right.
See, my thing and I was thinking about this today, we also have to consider, are you wanting to be a hobbyist or are you wanting to make money? Because those are 2 very different things.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're buying and what you need.
And I approached this, the title is So You Want to Make Knives, not So You Want to Be a Knife Maker. And that's kind of my take was hobbyist type thing. And with that said, I'm buying tools like I'm a knife maker. So, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you start us off and show us what it's like, Tom? Give an example of what this looks like as picks for $1,500.
So $1,500 is pretty limited. You're not getting a grinder. Well, I'll take that back. I'm not getting a grinder because there's not a grinder that I would be happy with at that price point. And there's people that make
snooty already. Keep going.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd rather not waste my money on that kind of stuff. And you can the first 13 knives I made with files and sandpaper. Knowing what I know now, I could do it a lot better. But you can 100% make knives with a file and sandpaper. So, I'm assuming a lot of things on my tool list. I'm assuming, that I have a bench and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff as a new, a wannabe knife maker that you can build yourself. You don't have to spend a lot of money on fancy benches or all this kind of stuff. I would highly suggest building some tools. I'm going to start with a vise. That's going to be my first tool. And I'm going to buy the same vise that I bought 30 years ago, 25 years ago. It's a Wilton 6-inch safety vise. They're not inexpensive. This is actually the second vise I bought because the first vise was inexpensive and it broke. The Wilton 6-inch safety vise, they're $575. They're worth every penny. I've got 5 or 6 of them in the shop now at this point. They really do work well. And they're can you break it? I'm sure. I've worked with people that can break anything. But with normal use in the knife maker shop, it's not going to break. It's a great investment. It'll last you. Even if you switch hobbies, a good vise is a good vise. You'll use it for whatever you want to do. My second tool, so I'm at almost $600. Second tool I'm going to pick.
Let's pause there for a second.
Yeah.
So that's more than a third of your budget
Mm-hmm.
on a good vise, a good starter vise anyway, a good workhorse vise.
Right. You can spend more on a vise. I have, but these are a solid tool.
Okay. And I don't make knives. So my takeaway as a casual observer is that you're looking at the vise like it's a cornerstone thing. If you decided to migrate from being a hobbyist knife maker to a more serious knife maker, which sometimes spends money like a like a guy who's trying to make money making knives, or eventually to a full-time knife maker, this is a piece that would like live on, right? This is like you said, you use them in your shop now. So
Right.
that's why you're putting this much of the budget toward a good vise.
Yeah. I've literally broken the $150 vices. And I mean, early on in my knife making, I broke it and they just didn't work as well. And it made me laugh that you said that because I know knife makers that don't use vices. I think Billy Cho doesn't really use a vise, which blows my mind, but
I think he uses a vise for gun stuff, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, he does, but not for knife stuff, which I don't. Anyways, but yeah, for me, a good vise, especially if you're going to be filing, you're going to be clamping stuff. You know, it's a good tool, and it's a cornerstone tool for me.
So off to the side, Billy's going, bullshit.
We make different knives, so
Yeah, right. Okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to emphasize that point. Maybe that wasn't intended to be emphasized, but
no, and it really is, and we'll see what the rest of you guys come up with.
all right.
Oh, I got shit to say about that.
Birch is fuming off to the side.
That's going to be awesome.
All right. I'm sorry to
my
interrupt, Tom. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. My second tool is also extremely important, and what I've found is it's a benchtop drill press, right? So the WEN from off of Amazon. I've got a couple of these. They're great. The 10-inch variable speed drill press. They're super cheap. They're $191. I'm using the same drill press that I bought, like, I don't know, 25 plus years ago. It's a Delta. I got it at Lowe's. Great. Not quite as good as this because it's not variable speed. But I really enjoy a good drill press. And for knife making, it's really important to get those holes at a 90-degree angle and not have the gaps that are so common early on. I'm going to modify mine a little bit. I really like the keyless chucks, the precision keyless chucks. Don't go for the $30 one. They're not going to be good. The Jacobs keyless JT33 chuck will fit on this, and it's $250. So basically, I've just made this doubled the price on the chuck, so it's $450 now. So I've spent about 2/3 of my money now. The last kind of tool that I'm going to get is a Milwaukee Portaband. And I'd never got this set up. I used one at Jason Knight's place, and a bunch of other people have used them with good results. And you can basically put it in this swag stand, and it makes it into a little bitty bandsaw. And so you're looking at about $500 there. So I may have gone over just a little, but yeah, that's it.
The price of those Portabands and the other versions of it are crazy nowadays. Like,
They're like expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, they got
Like-
really expensive. So I that's another thing I was going to say. You could find a lot of this stuff used on the used market probably that would work just fine.
Yeah, I've got one, a portable. I don't have the swag table, which is something I need.
They're cheap. They're like $150.
Yeah, I need that part because all because of zirconium. You know, it gums up your shit. And you're like, God damn it. You know,
Yeah.
fucks up your stuff. So but I don't know. If I had to buy a new one, I was looking at some of those like, holy shit.
They've gotten really expensive. I've actually got one, and I've been meaning to buy one of these swag stands and set it up just for cutting like G10 pins.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great use.
I want one just for that Zerk. Just whatever.
So that's basically my $1,500 budget.
So when I point out that it's actually $1,566, Sean's just like cracking his knuckles over there, like, hang on, baby.
All bets are off.
Cheater, a cheater.
Well, yeah, I figure that I'm probably going to be the closest to $1,500 anyways.
Oh,
And,
sure.
You know, I didn't even get any of the expendables like files and drill bits. You don't really need that many drill bits. You know, you can get by with 2 F bits or something like that if you're just going to use 1/4-inch pins and lanyards.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot, and that would be I think this would be a good like start for a shop. You know, you can buy some expendables like some paper and files and drill bits and go to work.
And we're talking generally, I assume, for you to fix blades.
Yeah, I mean, if you can build folders with this, I mean, you could probably build friction folders and maybe some of the primitive type stuff, you know. But yeah, I'm guessing on this, if you can't afford like a little mini mill or something, at least it's going to be really tough to make folders. In my opinion, I'm sure there's people doing it, and I can remember, you know, there was a guy in France making bally songs with like 2 spoons and a fork, I think. But
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
it's like where there's a will, there's a way, and people are going to find a way to do stuff. Now, me personally, these are the tools that I would want to start with, and that's not including any hand tools or shop knives or any of that kind of stuff, you know.
yeah.
But this would be a really good starter set for me to be able to, like, if my shop burned down and I had $1,500, this is what I go get right now.
For someone coming at this cold, what kind of number would you throw on the? I think what you're thinking of is incidentals. Another $500, $100.
I think if you, so let's say you got these tools and you want to make knives. I think for $500 you could get a couple bars of like 1084 or you know, some other steel. You could buy like a 12x12 of micarta, a couple 12x12s of micarta, some epoxy. You could buy quite a few drill bits and files and sandpaper. I think for another $500 in incidentals, you'd have everything you needed to make knives
From scratch.
You
Yep.
couldn't heat treat them. You'd have to send them out or have a friend heat treat them or something, because, you know, we don't have a forge, or which would be fine for 1084 or any way to heat them. But then you can start going down that road of forging versus, you know, stock removal, and build you a little brick forge out in the back. I think Michael has done that at one time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think basically, how to say this? I think forging is basically stock removal plus you beat on the steel, right? So you need a forge. So you need a few extra tools if you're going to forge, and they don't have to be that expensive. You can make them, but you definitely would need like a forge of some type, whether it's homemade or one of the what's the home brand or something. There's
House-made.
House-made, yeah. Those are actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get one of those for $500 or so. And you're going to need some kind of anvil, and you could start with a railroad tie anvil or a bench anvil type, you know, post anvil. So, I mean, there's options.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay. All right.
We want to get into the other picks,
Let's see what everybody else has to this point.
and then we got some stuff to talk about, I think, before we go to the next one.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Once we get done with the arguing, let's get that out of place first.
No argument.
All right. How about you, Michael? What you got?
I was really surprised at the things I found out there for some very low prices that we didn't have. We didn't have a lot of these options. I know we bitch about this a lot about like, oh, we didn't have this shit and like that. And then the trade-off is there's also a million more makers to compete with and all that fun stuff. But we had like a Koot grinder, you can sometimes find cheap, the Grizzly that we got for $275 back in our day. But for $1,500, and like I said, depending on what you're going to make, or if you want to make it for yourself or make for friends, that bar is really very low. If you really sit back and think about some of the knives used out there to skin a lot of deer and shit like that, or butchers, it's very low, Rockwell, very simple steel. It's easy to sharpen. It's just very thin, not much to them, that have done a lot of work in the past. And it's only when we start putting our name on it and it becomes our business that we're like extremely paranoid about every single part of it, as we should be. But that being said, if you just want to make some knives and have fun doing it, I'm very much with Tom with get some files, get some sandpaper, build a bench. There's lots of stuff online about how to do that. Screw it down and just start filing your first one out. And it's tough, but you can be very precise with that. Another thing I found that we really didn't have was like the marketplace. There's a lot of people getting into knife making, a lot of people getting out of knife making. And there's a ton of like grinders and like cheap buffer, things that you can use a buffer for putting finishing wheels, not just like buffing wheels and things on. There's a ton of ways to find materials and pieces for your shop that way. But first off, I think the Wayne Goddard $50 knife book is a must-have. It's kind of outdated, but I found it for like $7.95 at thriftbooks.com for obviously a used or whatever. But
we are going to argue.
Let's hear it. What do you got?
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. That's like my least favorite book, but okay.
It's not, the information's outdated. It's not great, but it also isn't overwhelming. But I don't think it's for the guy that wants to get into knife making. I think it's a guy that just be like, I wonder if I can make a knife. I remember looking through that and being like, I can do this. And that was the big part of that book. The goop or whatever he makes out of like automatic transmission fluid and shit like that.
Like
no.
Bad science.
But as far as like talking about, the filing in it and pinning stuff and making the handles, it was very cut and dry, very easy to check out. And I don't know, it made it seem like, yeah, I can do that stuff. So I still think that's a good book for any library. I know it's not the best. Buy good steel. You can buy that from Pop's Knife Supply, $10.95, $10.84.
And it's a known
stuff like that.
entity.
It's cheaper than buying a file and using the file. I don't understand. I never understood that. Like a lot of people are like, oh, can I use a file? You could, or you can just file stuff with it, and buy steel. But what I also found like amazing was, okay, I'm going to send you guys off Amazon an $80 forge. Let me send this to you.
That's
I assume,
wow.
I assume it's made overseas and whatever. But holy shit. I mean, here we are. It's a big link. So it is basically a single burner. It's not blown, so you're going to use more propane, but it has a propane connector. It has a stainless steel outer shell. you can easily, with a stainless steel pipe inside and a $50 perometer thermometer type thing that even has a like high heat thermocouple that I found for $50 on Amazon, you can make a little heat treat oven pretty cheaply. I mean not for stainless steel, but for your 1095, you can regulate your temp and do something pretty cheaply. And this is much better than me taking a fish cooker, out in my backyard with fire bricks and I had to buy a special. I think it cost me like $200 because they just weren't making them like that. Then my little thermometer perometer thing.
That looks really well made.
Yeah. So for like $140, you've got, after you buy like a little stainless steel pipe to make your chamber, because you don't want direct heat on a blade or direct flame, you want to disperse it. You could actually heat treat your carbon steel pretty easily, pretty effectively with your temperature gauge and all that stuff for not much money.
Really nice.
I was pretty blown away. And I looked at the Apollo Forge. That's actually one. I built one last year. Ribbon forge, all that stuff. I don't know if any of that's necessary. But
is that the house-made forge?
Yeah. That's a real nice one. I see a lot of people going that way because I think they laser cut the parts out. You can kind of put them together, put your bricks in. You can put
super miserly on propane too.
Yeah.
Like it gets hot with not much use.
They do. And I don't know. I go back and forth. I built my first forge with just scrap parts and a shitty 110 welder, and there was no such thing as a ribbon burner then, and it actually uses less propane than the one I built now, which I don't understand, but whatever.
Yeah.
Also, but once again, we're getting into this. Do you want to buy overseas stuff? Is that a big thing to you? But I know for me, when I was starting out, I didn't give a shit. That vise Tom was talking about, I bought the Harbor Freight one.
I tried, but I broke mine.
And it's still sitting here. That knife that Mark got, that buoy that he found, you know how thick that the guard is on that?
Yeah.
Mark? I bent that on this. I beat the shit out of it. I clamped it up and beat this shit out of it. Heated a little bit up. And I've done a ton of this on this like $100, $150 vise I got from Harbor Freight. And that was 20 years ago. And I still use it all the time. I've got other vices I beat the shit out of, but for just holding things that I need, it does a fantastic job. I filed, knives on it. I did all sorts of shit on that thing, and I didn't have any issues, but I don't know. Mine may have been shitty. But, okay, so here's another thing I found on eBay. Check out this thing. This is a grinder body.
Grinder
for
body.
For $395. Allow paste. Why is it? All right. Check this thing out.
Whoa.
Okay, is this going to be the best grinder out there? No, not at all. Is it going to be perfectly fine for grinding a bunch of blades? Fuck yeah. There's no motor, but you can find, that's another weird thing about like electronics and motors and all this shit nowadays, the overseas stuff.
With no motor.
But you can find a $200 2 horsepower motor, 56C clamp or 56C to fit on there, face on it for $200. And you can slap a VFD. No, it's not the NEMA 4 one that we love, we all love, for $500, but it's, I think, $150. So for $350, you can have a variable speed motor set up for this. So you're looking at $650, $700 for a adjustable 2x72 grinder.
Nice.
That is nuts.
Yeah, that looks good.
Huh.
Got a flat platen. You can do, I mean, that's got to be better than the 500 miles per hour Grizzly that I started out with.
Dude, those things do not track for shit.
No, they didn't track for shit. As soon as you put a 400 belt on there and tried to grind away micarta, it turned black, and you're like, fuck this. So you quit using micarta for years because you just ruined it all for so long. You know,
Those things went
so much
so
G10
fast.
was used because it was the only thing that wouldn't burn on those things.
And it had to be the dark colors.
Yeah. But I was blown away. And then I saw, you ever heard of Vivor, whatever?
Yeah.
They have a whole setup with a motor for $895. A whole 2x72 knife maker grinder for $275 or $875.
I was going to say 275. What?
Now, once again, it's going to be the cheaper VFD driven situation. And it's almost, and it says a 1500 watt motor.
I'm surprised
Which-
it has a VFD period versus pulleys.
Yeah.
I mean-
a VFD that, but a 1500 watt motor, which should come to 2 horsepower roughly, but it's got to be, I don't know. It's got to be either DC or brushed. I don't know. It's weird that they didn't put horsepower on it. They put watts instead. I don't know.
Because China uses SI units.
I don't know. It seemed odd. I didn't see capacitor type situations on it either. So I didn't know what was going on there. But $875, I don't know.
I mean, you might get electrocuted, but that's not what we're talking about here.
No, it's desire versus, you know, what do you want to do? I just know that that gets into kind of a sticky situation because you're like, do you want to buy this overseas crap? Do you need to buy? Because it's that $875 is real easy to be like, well, for not much more, I can buy this. And trust me, you should if you can. You 100% should if you can. But if you just want to jack around, these things are adequate. I mean, a ton better than what we had starting out, for sure. So I don't know. I found that very interesting to just start out.
Yeah.
And truthfully, as far as like a drill press, you know, I had the cheap $40 Harbor Freight ones. You know, like who had like 20 of them lined up? Who was that?
Mike.
Was it Snowdy or
Snowdy.
someone? Yeah,
Mike
used to have like
Snowdy.
20 of those lined up.
Yeah. That was some crazy stuff back in the
Yeah, but and they worked fine. I'd never drilled anything that I needed to be super precise, but
Yeah.
as far as like folders and stuff, but when it came to fixed blades, perfectly fine. You know, but I'd probably search some of the older machinery on Marketplace or whatever, find one you can put a little, elbow grease into. Because that's one thing you find out when you get older and shit is most of the stuff isn't really that hard to fix. There's ways to fix a lot of those old things. You just kind of get in and start tinkering.
Okay. So I think my summary of what all the stuff you just went to is: one, don't be shy about buying something secondhand
Oh, no.
because you can save a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
And like, do some research because there's some surprisingly affordable stuff out there, even not secondhand.
Yeah. But, man, I'll tell you what, a little bit of elbow grease goes a long ways, and there's so much information now. Like, no matter what you want to build or do, there's a Facebook group for it.
There's
Where they're-
YouTube. I mean,
Yeah,
we didn't
YouTube.
have that stuff when we started.
No, I had, when I built my first forge, I had, I
An
did
abacus. I think you had an abacus.
I had Don Fogg's site, which had a ton of information, which we were lucky to have. I can't imagine how many people built forges and presses off that sort of stuff. But now there was even like a forge group that I joined when I started building this one last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. You can, with a little welding and whatever, you can put together a pretty good forge.
Tom, do you know how long it took for Michael to send a message via smoke signal to Don Fogg saying, "How do I heat treat?"
So, yeah, hard to get the response.
It's like a whole weekend to get that message out.
Yeah. Sadly, I'm older than Michael, so
That is true.
significantly. Yeah. So I have one. Let's throw this in. You mentioned a book. Not my favorite book. It does have some good information in there. I don't know if the goop, heat treating goop, is good information or not.
It is not at all.
Yeah, I know. But it's in there. And that's what's crazy is that's how a well-known mastersmith, he treated his blades. So there is some forgiveness in some of these steels. Sometimes I don't accept that, right? You know, if there's a right way, I try to do it. And I guess back then, a lot of these guys didn't really know any better. But now we've got access to like knife steel nerds and some pretty good stuff. But where I was going with
difference.
that. What's that?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say a couple other books. But yeah, what were you going to say?
I'm just saying that's the difference. We are professionals, or at least try to be. We get paid to do this. This is our job. It better be right. But if you're making a knife for a buddy or yourself, hey man, mistakes can be made.
But I'm just saying, like, there's some steels that are better suited for this, like 1084 and stuff like that are so forgiving. You can still get a great heat treat with that same goop shit.
01. I mean, I think you can dip it in your coffee or whatever. It doesn't give a shit, you know.
I think 1084 is probably the easiest, but
it really is.
Even 1095.
And it's great steel too.
Yeah. 1084 makes a great knife. I was going to mention another book, two books that are my favorites. And one of them is How to Make Knives by Loveless, Barney, and Moran. And this book has a great section for what we're talking about. It has a whole section on how to make a knife with no power tools.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to file and use sandpaper, great. It's got a section on making leather sheaths. It's got Loveless doing stock removal. It's got Moran doing forging. It's got a lot of information on steel and different stuff. I highly recommend it. The other one is Knife Making. I'm turning to look at my bookshelf behind me. Knife Making by David Bowie. That was another one that when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, this is possible. You know, he's out there using like car antenna, you know, from the 70s as lanyard tubes and stuff. I don't think we need to do that. And good luck finding a car antenna like that. But some really cool information in there, right?
Yeah.
So those plus the interwebs, I mean, there's so much information out there for people. No matter how you learn, whether, and if you have the money, go to a school. I mean, I took a class with Jason Knight this year. It was awesome. That is a wonderful way to get to spend time with a maker and come away with something that you made, and talk about a boost on like feeling like you can make stuff. I mean, when you come home with something you made, that you're set, you're hooked.
Yeah.
The kids call that a level up, Tom.
Oh yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. And I think also, a good advice, like when it comes to like, say you want to file, and I know that sounds like it's archaic and it's dumb, but it's really not that bad. It's not a punishment. Like annealed steel and a good file, it goes pretty damn quick. But if you make a tiny blade, a small blade out of it, that's a small chunk that you can be like, I did that. Look what I made with my hands and nothing else. And there's an immense amount of satisfaction that we've probably been chasing that same high for 20 and 30 years, you know, of look what I made there.
I'm holding the first knife I made in my hand right now, and it still makes me happy.
I've got one within reach that I made with a file. It's got packlewood though, so I don't want to show it.
What a loser, man. I used burgundy linen micarta on mine.
Ooh.
And it looks like dog shit, but
Yeah.
man, I was proud of that knife. Still am.
Oh, yeah. This knife, I can't explain how excited I was. And now when I look at it, it's like, it's super simple.
Yeah.
And that was part of the plan also. I wanted something super simple that I could finish and have a finished product. And so it's not exotic. It's not fancy. It's very simple.
Yeah, I felt like the caveman that like discovered flint and made wrap some sinew around some shit, and that's how I felt when I did that. And I was, in a garage with electricity.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine has a left-handed sheath because I am not very smart sometimes, apparently. But I was like, well, that's because it can go on the left side and my gun can go on the right side.
Yeah, Tom, it's for cross draw.
It's
Okay?
intentional.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but yeah.
Right. Nice. Well, I expected much more beef so far, so I hope when Sean goes through his, he raises some beef with some people. This is not very exciting so far.
Now I'm trying to think of a way to stir the pot, even if I don't agree with it myself.
Bring it, Sean.
I am glad the microphone was muted so the sound that I made when Birch said, "We're professionals, man," didn't come through into the microphone.
By professional, I meant getting paid for work.
Oh.
I don't feel very professional.
Good clarification.
And I don't know if I enjoy that. I just self-diagnose myself there with
Yes.
the why I'm having to bridge gaps with tiny inlays and stuff to taste that same high. I'm like, shit.
Son of a biscuit. Yeah. All right, let's get to Sean, because I predicted ahead of time Sean could go in a couple of wildly different directions on $1,500 pick. Plus, I am confident he has a bone to pick. So, Sean,
Let's rock.
let's go.
And I tried to keep it as close as I could to what I could get local, like at Harbor Freight and stuff.
Right on.
Like if I had to go out too much for it, I tried to stay away from it. So the first thing I'm going to choose here is from the Harbor Freight. It's the Central Machinery, 1 horsepower, 4-inch by 6-inch horizontal vertical metal cutting bandsaw.
There you go.
And go ahead, get the extended warranty on it, because it's going to wear out before that warranty's up, and you just walk in there and get a fresh one.
There you go.
I did that probably 4 or 5 times before I got my Jet bandsaw that I currently have been running for the past 8 years.
Nice.
The jet bandsaws are money.
Yeah, for double the price, you get way more than double the tool.
Plus, you get to make some Harbor Freight employees' day when they say, "Would you like to buy an extended warranty?" And they throw you the whole pitch, and instead of saying "fuck no,"
You just say,
you
yes,
say,
I would.
Yes, I would. And they'll be like, "God damn, I'm getting paid. Let's go."
There's many a maker still using those Harbor Freight specials.
Yeah, they lock them up and like put a tractor seat on them or something.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing is, the one part that wears out on them is that worm gear.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't that tough to replace.
No.
Not really at all. And I mean, shit, to be honest with you, if you know anything about cutting gears, it ain't a hard one to make.
No, I had one and I sold it when I bought my old Rockwell, basically Wilton style bandsaw. And now with Damascus stuff, I need a horizontal, but now they're like expensive as shit. I'm like, man.
Michael, did you hear how he flexed on you there with the whole, I mean, if you know anything about cutting gears, you just make one of those.
I know. Yeah. Damn. I do think Bob T has one of these in his shop currently.
Yeah.
He did in Santa Fe, or in New Mexico at least.
The current price on them's $330. And I believe that this is one of the, it may qualify for the in-store coupon.
Ooh.
And I can't remember, is the in-store coupon 20% off or $20 off? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Sometimes 20%, yeah.
where they have like the inside track or something. Like
Oh yeah.
there was one year I bought their welder, which I had a lot of guys that were like good welders that are usually pretty picky about shit. Were like, yeah, that Omni welder's pretty damn good. So I signed up for the inside track, and when I had a bunch of shit to buy and saved a bunch of money. Can't believe we're talking about Harbor Freight.
This episode inadvertently brought to you by Harbor Freight.
Just for the record, I don't buy anything from Harbor Freight.
Not even nitrile gloves?
Nope. I don't. It's 7 miles away, and Amazon will bring that shit to me.
Buddy, I stock up on them gloves.
Yeah.
They're so cheap when it's on whatever.
Right.
I bought a heat gun from them back in the day and about burned my shop down, and I was like, no, I'm done.
See, you should have checked the Sean Kendrick index of should I get the extended warranty on this item or not. You missed, sir.
It about burned my place down, so.
Yeah.
I don't think the gloves will do that to you, though.
No.
What's that? Gloves? No. They're cheap enough on Amazon. I don't got to go nowhere.
All right, look, Sean's got a long ways to go to get to 15. He's like $1,100 away.
Oh, it ain't going to take that long. Because the next thing up is, let me give you very specific terminology here. The 2-speed benchtop mill drill machine from Central Machinery.
No.
And they don't keep these in the store, but you can get it delivered to the store, so it counts as a Harbor Freight purchase. And man, this will be your drill press. It's your beginner mill. And this fucking thing punches so far above its price point, it's ridiculous. These are just great little benchtop mills, and the footprint is ridiculously small. And like, dude, if you want to do good, clean jimping, it'll do great jimping. Save you money on having to buy checkering files. It's just a great little machine. I endorse these wholeheartedly.
It's kind of crazy, but I have that same.
You don't buy these either because fuck them. Is that what
that's all I made knives on.
Oh gosh, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Let's go. You gonna take that from him, Tom?
See you guys later.
Don't quit on me, buddy.
No, this is
I wouldn't take that shit.
Almost that exact same. It is the exact same mill. I'm looking at it right here. I bought it used from Lucas Burnley for $400, and that's what I made folders on for the first 4 or 5 years. And then I got another one, and that's what I use a 2 for making folders. That's all. I've never had a big mill. I mean, I have one, but I never set it up. I have two very similar mills to that in my folder area, and before the CNC, that's all I used. 15 years.
I mean, they're great. They've got a variable speed motor on them that, you can turn it to adjust however fast or slow you want to go, low or high gear. I will say this, a little pro tip. When you get it in, completely disassemble the fucking thing and degrease it.
Get all the cosmoline out of it.
Yeah, and good luck getting all the cosmoline off of it. Get the majority of the cosmoline off of it.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I recommend doing that too because it's going to really familiarize you with the machine. It's like a really good introduction into how this thing works. You'll have a better understanding of the tool and what it can and maybe what it can't do.
Yeah.
They're really good for just drilling holes. If you need
it's the best drill press you'll have.
Yep. You can square it up. That's what I use to drill a lot of my stuff is it's the Grizzly. It's a bigger one, but not a ton bigger.
Yeah.
It's basically just a drill press that I use.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you had one of these because I know you got 2 little machines, right, Michael?
This was the first milling machine I got. It was $4.99 new when I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought this and I bought the small lathe. And made a bunch of my folders with those 2. Pivot collars, all sorts of shit on that lathe. And I did a bunch of like waffle patterning, which is just me cranking that tiny handle back and forth, back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
So are you guys familiar with Little Machine Shop?
Uh-huh.
My next pick is off of Little Machine Shop.
Boom. Let's hear it.
It's the 3-inch precision milling vise and parallel set. with mounting hardware to go on the
Same.
mill.
I've got it on both of mine.
Wow.
And I mean, for what they charge, it's a knockoff of a fucking 3-inch Kurt Vise.
Yeah.
For a comparable Kurt Vise, you're going to pay what? $1,000,
Wow.
$1,200.
A lot.
Yeah. And this kit, you get your mounting hardware, the vise, which has a rotary base, and a parallel set for $159.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So what's the tally so far, Sean? You got more? You got room? You got headroom over there?
Oh yeah, I got a little bit of room
All right.
left. Let's see. We'll say how much was the? Okay, so $730 for the milling machine, $330 for the bandsaw, and then $159. So yeah, I got a few $100 left. Let's see, what would I get? Oh, a decent workbench. I have it up here. And you know, whether you're going to build it yourself or buy one, get the sturdiest workbench you can get. Oh, and a shit ton of C-clamps.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys like I like the little vice grip C-clamps. They're expensive, but I use them for glue up and everything. They're really good.
I've got a couple of those, and I've used them just for that, 'cause especially the little tiny footprint they have on them. You can get them around that's usually my biggest problem with a lot of the clamps.
I've also got some with the feet on them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I probably got 20 or 30 of those. And I use them for like when I'm clamping handle material to the blade to drill through and stuff like that. Pretty useful.
20 or 30. So that covers like the first half of the morning batch.
Yeah, I didn't get them all at once,
Oh, okay.
but I've been doing this 30 some years and
Accumulate.
I got a whole drawer full of them. The small ones and the next size up, those are the two most useful. And some of those
deep throat
can't-
C-clamps.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, I got some of those. I got the can't twist little hand
Oh,
vices.
gosh,
Those are
dude.
really
God,
really
I love
Can't
those.
twist. The little ones, you know, for the two smallest they make are handy as a pocket on a fucking shirt.
dude.
God,
They
I
rock.
love those.
Like say you gotta like I've been the Hinder over travel from Steve Kelly. For some reason, I'm having to deburr the back of those. Otherwise, I get a little drag. I don't know if my tool got a little small or what, but I can't hold them with anything else. That smallest one, you clamp it in there. It's solid, easy to use. They're super handy.
Yeah, and now I'm going to spell this for folks. So when you search, it's
Just gonna say.
KANT twist. Can't twist.
Yeah.
And
They
what are we
are
talking
a-
about here? The 1 inch. I think
Yeah,
we're
they're
probably the
tiny.
smallest is the 1 inch. It's got a jaw opening of 1 inch maximum.
And get the circle on the back instead of the little bar
Yes.
to tighten them. The circle
Yeah, definitely.
tightener.
Little bullshit tee.
Yeah, the
Dude,
T.
you can
I've got
really
some of
torque
those.
it down with the little knurled circle deal.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Like to where sometimes I've got to go over to my vise and put that circle in the vise
Yeah.
and then break pressure that way.
The clamping power of those little things is pretty freaking amazing.
It's disproportionate. It really is.
Yeah.
They got
That's our recommendation.
they got a 3/4 inch version.
I've that's what I'm using for these little Hinder over travel stops.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of those, and then the 1 inch or the business.
Huh.
I don't even know what size. Oh, I use 1.5 inches. And I've
It's
got
been
bigger
so
ones.
long since I bought mine. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
they
mine-
have them 3/4, 1 inch, 1.5, 2, and 2 1/4.
They make them really big.
Yeah.
I've got a couple really big ones for like if I need to weld something or whatever.
Well, shit. Now I need the tiny baby ones.
Tiny baby ones.
Man, it's nice for some of the small stuff we work with if you've got to hold it to spot a hole or something.
Oh, so many of my folders were held together using this when I would drill through both sides. That's
Oh,
all I
yeah.
used because it wouldn't shift. It doesn't shift when you clamp stuff together.
It can't twist.
I know. It's so great. Same with like we've talked about before, the parallel pliers that we love. We can't find anymore that are any good.
Amazon has some import ones that are pretty good.
Parallels?
Yeah, they've
Okay.
got a set. It's got one has brass jaws, which I really like. The second one has the nylon jaws. Doesn't open quite as far, but it's still good. And then it's got a steel set. So there's 3 of them, and I think it's like $40.
No
I
shit.
can pull it up and look. I'll send you a link.
Interesting. All right.
I just got them in. I just ordered another set yesterday, so they got in. Or I just got them yesterday.
Be interesting to see how the urethane holds up, because
It's not
that's
urethane.
what we want, or whatever it is.
It's nylon, and I haven't been able to tear it. I've got one that I've had for over a year, and that looks almost new.
Interesting.
Oh, I think I remember playing around with one of these at your place, Michael. Probably that one that you showed the picture of, because the little end pieces, you can spin it and get different
Mhm.
surfaces, right? Yeah.
And one side's grooved, so you can do pin stock or whatever.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so if you search, it's a TDS online store is who's selling them, and they are just search parallel pliers. Here is a link for you guys, and it's they may not have them in stock right now, but they'll get more. They just got them back in stock. $46
Oh yeah.
shipped, and there's 3 different pliers, and they're really good. The fancy ones, I can't remember the brand name we were getting with the soft jaws. The new ones suck.
Yeah,
They're
that's what
too soft.
we bitched about. That they just tear up.
I think somebody with a 3D printer could probably print some jaws that are tougher, or harder, and that would probably work pretty good.
Add to cart.
But those are
nice.
those are well made, and they're good. And I mean, I was paying $45 for one plier of the other brand. Of course, these are not made in England or wherever, but they're good. I've got probably 5 or 6 of them in the shop now.
Nice. I stayed away from because the nylon. I had another pair of nylon that just destroyed in half a second, so I kind of assumed that meant they sucked.
These actually came with a second set of jaws also, so you can replace them. But the brass ones are probably my favorite. I really like the brass ones.
Nice.
So yeah, there you go.
The guys that make those super handy little non-parallel pliers, Knipex, they actually have parallels too.
Really?
They're metal jaw, they're not plastic, but yeah, and they have little teeny ones. If you look up that brand KNIPEX and put parallel jaw pliers, I actually ended up buying a whole bunch of these, including these little wee teeny tiny XS size, which probably would be useful to you guys, but boy, are they handy. And they have like a little slip lock thing, right? So it can be a bunch of different sizes of parallel jaw.
So I use something similar from Craftsman for glue up.
Yeah.
That has that ratchet type thing in there. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Interesting.
All the little tools. We love them.
Yeah. All right. So
Cool.
that gets us through the $1,500 price point. What else do we want to talk about? Are we at this level talking about going to learn stuff from someone? Or is that really a higher price point thing since we pretty much spent all the money?
I don't know. I think once again, it depends on what you want to get out of it. I think I don't know. I've yet to be able to do a class yet, but I have the feeling that some of the folks are customers that kind of want to see how stuff's done. And maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know.
No, I think you're right, and I'm hoping you're right because I'm wanting to build a business around that. But I think that it's not necessarily people that want to be knife makers. It's somebody that wants to make a knife or two. You go to a class and you get to hang out with the maker and have this awesome story and adventure. And it seems like, especially the younger people right now, they're not into collecting stuff. They're not into all that. They want to. A lot of them don't have, you don't get a house, you get a van and you live in it and you have experiences. And that's kind of the feel I get from this. It's like it's not necessarily for people that want to be knife makers. It's people that want to have an experience, you know?
Yeah.
And I did that. I got to go hang out with Jason Knight, and it was awesome, you know? Made some really good friends, and came away with a badass machete that I forged. And yeah, I got a story. And I think that's, you know, we're talking about tools to set up a small shop, but, you know, I think this could be done at any time, you know?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of makers that are offering it, you know, so I think no matter what you want to make, there's someone probably not that far away that you can do this with.
Right.
The old fashioned way. Find somebody and go learn from them if you can.
Yeah, I think that would have been extremely helpful for me. I'm very much a visual, see how stuff's done type of guy.
All right. Let's we're getting a little ways into the show. Should we pivot to the $5,000 thing?
We probably should, because we really
Wore out.
yeah.
Well, and it's not like we have to buy a whole new shop. We can just kind of upgrade our grinder, right? So really, that's, to me, this section is not even really what would I do for $5,000. It's like, it's more of a grinder
talk.
discussion.
Oh, boy.
Is this just us? Because I went the same way. I was like, I just want to look at a cool grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. $5,000 is not going to be about like Tom out there collecting memories.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is like straight up hardcore grinder porn.
Well, and we can have a discussion about it too. I mean, it's like,
Hey,
why
what mine's called?
a discussion on grinders?
Hardcore grinder.
Oh, boy. All right. $5,000 price point. Why don't you continue with that thought, Tom? You're saying, hey, $5,000 is kind of like, okay, somebody gets a bonus or Christmas money or some windfall of extra cash. What do they do with the next $5,000?
Right. So, I mean, for me personally, that means I'm getting a grinder, a real, you know, pro level knife maker grinder. And so the first grinder I bought was actually a grinder I bought from Tom Maringer, and Bob Dozier helped me fix it up. I still have that. It's in the back. I don't really use it. But in 1998, I bought a Dozier grinder, and I still use that every day. So basically, this is one of those tools that when you cry once, right? You buy a quality grinder, and with a little bit of maintenance, very little maintenance, and replacing a few parts like the idler wheel, this will last a lifetime or two, you know. And so I would recommend getting a very good grinder with that $5,000. What's cool today is we have such a huge selection of grinders that are so much better than what we had choices back in the day. You guys agree with that?
100%.
Yeah. That's an understatement.
I mean, they're amazing, and you really can't go wrong with most of them, honestly. Some of them have a little bit, you know, more detail or options or, you know, support. I personally chose to go on this one with Travis Wirtz, the TW90 Bladesmith package. It's $4,000, you know. You can add some other accessories and stuff to it. I really like the Burr King adjustable stands, especially if you're going to have more than one person in the shop, or you want to sit down for some jobs, which is kind of nice. They bolt right into the floor, and they're super stable. You can sweep around them. They're not on a bench that's going to catch on fire, which is not a great thing to have happen. And yeah, right there, you're pushing $5,000. Honestly, I would probably upgrade. It's not an option, but I'd want the 12-inch serrated 90 durometer wheel. But I went with the 10 because that was what is available. But these new grinders, they're amazing. And I went with Travis's because he's a good friend of mine and their support is awesome. Like, I don't expect them to be gone anytime soon. They're at all the shows. They're always bringing new, exciting stuff and really good accessories. Like, they have a surface grinding accessory, all sorts of stuff. You know, it's a total package, and 2 horsepower variable speed. You got plenty of power, flat platen, small wheel adapter, you know, and a wheel. It does it all. It goes horizontal. The new grinders are just amazing. So yeah, this is a fun one for people.
Yeah. People have to understand that a grinder that turns horizontal is kind of new. You know, this wasn't a thing back in
And
the
it's
day.
so useful.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they come up with the first, surface grinder attachment like you talked
Correct.
about?
Yeah.
I thought so.
And they've got, like, they're doing, I talked to Travis, like a year ago, quite a bit in Vegas, and they've got some really cool new magnetic chuck options that they were working on. And that's what's cool is Travis is always building new stuff and he's super smart. So,
Yeah.
and he's a cool dude. So he's a friend.
Yeah. Good choice.
What'd you guys go with?
Full boat TW90. Boom. Easy answer. What about you, Michael?
Well, I've always been a KMG guy.
I know. I knew you were going to do that.
But that's not what I went with.
What?
This was a tough one. Because I've never had one of these, but that hardcore quick change 2x72 belt grinder. And I was like, well, I might as well get the premium package for $6,200,
Yes.
the pro package.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's got like everything, like literally everything you could use. The wheels, the adjustable, you know, little, whatever you call it, table where you can use your jig on or whatever, go back and forth. I think Alan got one of these a while back and was showing it off. I was like, holy shit, that looks cool.
Jason got one. JB.
Jason Knight?
No, JB Stout.
Oh, Stout got one?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They're supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, it looks so nice. So much cool shit. And I've got like that, you know, we both have that flat platen, rotary flat platen, and you can tell it's just well made.
The Maximizer?
No, the rotary platen that we got like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But their stuff looks well made and seems well made, but so I imagine that grinder's badass, but it was just kind of if I had a bunch of money, I think I'd want to try one of those.
I love, I don't know if it was Alan or Jason that did it, but one of them had it flat out screaming and had a coffee cup sitting on it and it's just sitting there. Nothing's moving. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And to be fair, I love the newer KMG that I got that is somehow plugged into 110. They said, try it out. And I was like, all right. And I haven't changed it.
Really? That's impressive.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, for real.
And I do all my main grinding. That's all I do on it is just the grinding stuff, the blade grinding. It's crazy. But I'm not a hogger. You know, I'm not a get in there and just tear shit up. A delicate touch.
Yeah, I'm not tearing shit up, man.
You're not doing it Jerry McGinnis style?
No, I don't get in there and press real hard.
Really? I run low speed and high pressure.
Mike's just throwing sweet little butterfly kisses at the blade, Tom.
No, I go 50%, and I guess I do okay pressure, but it's folder blades. I mean, that I'm doing mainly.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to get shit gone.
It doesn't take long to fuck one up is how I fucking
That's
think of
kinda-
it when I'm grinding.
Yeah.
That's my time to spend, to just kind of go quiet and slow. And
It would be fun to have a place where you could go for a day and like, here's $200, and they have all the grinders and and or however much, and you can grind on all of them. You know, just walk around in a circle and grind on grinders.
Yeah, here's a blade blank.
Yeah, here's 5 blade blanks. Go play.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a great business. Instead of painting fences, like Tom Sawyer type stuff, get people to come in and grind your blades.
Well, they started like at Blade. You'll see them like grinding shit. Like, how are they allowing that?
I don't know. It's pretty cool though.
Yeah. So,
All right. Birch picks hardcore grinder. Why am I not surprised?
and I also got myself a new heat treat oven.
Oh,
Yeah, in my head on this one.
Which one did you get?
I went ahead and got an even heat, even though even heat's what's been bothering me, but it, mine's 20 plus years old, so I can't really bitch about it too much. But, one that, has like Wi-Fi or where the fuck you comes with now. Big.
They're pretty nice.
wow.
I'm just dreaming.
So how much over budget does that put you?
I think I'm only like 4,000 over. Nothing big.
Right. What's that between friends?
Yeah.
That's not much.
Yeah. All right, Sean. Start swinging, buddy.
All right, man. I would buy the Quattro grinder from Wilmot Grinders.
Great
I
grind.
would have got one last year, but he was out and I needed to spend the money I had before the year was up for tax reasons. So I got a KMG. But if they had been in stock, I would have a Quattro sitting out in my shop right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, KMG had that like 20% off or something, didn't they?
Yeah. They had a pretty nice little sale going on.
Oh, that is nice.
Man, they are. And Chris is great to do business with and a solid human being to boot. So
He is a good dude. No doubt.
Nice.
Yeah, those are solid. I tell you what, the Ameribraid I had a tough one not picking that one too. They're doing some really cool stuff. And if I was buying a surface grinder attachment, I think it would be theirs. Except I think they have a different post maybe than what I use. But I'm sure you can change that up.
I'm not sure.
But they're another company. What's that?
I did put the Hyperdisc from Ameribraid on there.
That's really cool.
It's a really cool tool.
What's a hyperdisc?
So it's basically, if you get the Pro package, it's this badass variable speed disc that you can quick change out with like buffing wheels and stuff.
Ah.
And you can mount it horizontal or vertical, or it's pretty neat. I think a disc sander and a buffer are really those are two tools I continuously use in the shop. The buffer especially, and I don't know. A lot of people make knives without a buffer, but I don't know how I would do it.
I don't know either. The same with the disc. And there's some people that be like, I've never used a disc sander in my life. I'm like,
Really?
I don't know, maybe not day one, but it wasn't long after that I got one and use it all the time.
Yeah, flattening handles, tapering tangs, which I don't do a whole lot anymore, but fitting bolsters, all that stuff.
Yeah. And that's another thing I think folks should really keep an eye on is like the dental or whatever Baldor.
Dental lathe?
Yeah, lathes or buffers. You can find those fairly cheap on the marketplace or Craigslist or whatever you're looking at nowadays. And if you're not doing like full handle like buffing or whatever, but if you want to use like little Scotch Brights or little different texturing pads and shit like that, those things will go down to 1,800. You can switch between 1,800 and whatever it is, and they're fantastic. The ones that use a little spiral spindle as opposed to, and they're handy as shit. I have two of them. Use them all the time.
A lot of the dental lathes have quick change.
Yeah.
Bob T's got several of those in his shop, and he has them loaded up with specific tools for very specific things.
Mm-hmm. And I keep trying out new, different things that I find on like jewelers' websites, little,
Yeah.
different Scotch Brite or different whatever to see what kind of finishes I can get on different, metals or.
Rio Grande is a great resource for you guys.
Absolutely.
It's a jewelry supply out of Albuquerque. Lots of good stuff in there, especially Dremel type stuff.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Sean, were you looking at the remaining $1,500 you'd have as like the first $1,500, or you got more to spend? Isn't the Wilmot $3,350?
Yeah,
plus
you
you
got
more
money.
to spend.
Spend it, man.
I'd just buy accessories for the grinder.
Yeah.
You that can add up pretty quick.
It doesn't leave much once you add a few different things to them. It's like, I'm pushing that 5,000 limit pretty hard.
Yeah.
You get
my
my
Barbie,
60,
you need the Barbie Vet and the Dream House, right?
That's right. That's right.
my $6,200 one came with everything. I don't know. It's like I'm saving money.
You can take your poor bullshit down the road. We pay a la carte around here, buddy.
Boy.
It's amazing that he's the only one that came in under budget.
Of all people,
Hey, when you think you got the answers, I change the fucking questions.
that is exactly what happened to me. Yeah.
And I think apparently I need a new chair because I've been squeaking the hell out of this thing all podcast.
Yes.
Slightly shifting. It's like,
Yeah.
I actually stood up for the last part because I feel like I was doing the same thing.
That's for those the people early on when we started doing the show that are like, oh wow, yeah, where's your studio? And now
In my shop.
that's Birch sitting on a chopped up 2x12 chair.
yeah, I got to move all my little knife pieces over to the side slowly to lay out my little podcast pod.
Yeah.
Your little nest, podcast nest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got more we want to talk about on this one or no?
No, I think that made a pretty good, interesting podcast.
I think it's made it.
Are you
interesting.
self-reviewing right now? Did you just give yourself 5 stars on iTunes?
I gave 6.
I also thought it was interesting that like Sean's, you could actually do folder stuff with. Like he came in from a folder perspective.
Yeah, I like that.
Dude, I came in from a fucking dude who really enjoys having a mill in his shop's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was
Kinda
exactly
spoiled on it.
how we started out. I mean, same route.
I'm still using that same mill.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
On the rig.
Well, I remember it used to be, some of the older guys would be like, well, you need a Bridgeport. Like, actually, you could do this just a whole lot slower. Now, trust me, I love my Bridgeport. I love that you can just gnaw into something with these big, massive bites. But here in middle Missouri, there ain't a bunch of fucking Bridgeports falling from the trees.
Yeah.
This was not an industrial area.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, and footprint size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
And what's cool is with here comes a train. With a fiber cutoff wheel, all of a sudden you can cut lock bars,
Yeah.
And I made hundreds of knives that way,
Yeah. It opened the door for folders for me, literally. I mean, that's what I needed. I guess not literally. I hate that I did that there, but but it was what I needed to make folders.
Yeah.
And I saved up for that thing. It was a big purchase for me.
Yeah, we don't recommend opening doors with a spinning fiber wheel,
No.
although it can be done.
And yeah, like I bought out a knife shop that a friend of mine shut his shop down, and I ended up with a second one. It's a nicer one. It's like the nicest one from the little machine shop.
Ooh.
But they've been workhorses. I mean, they've been in my shop for 15 plus years,
Yeah. And it seemed like we pushed Harbor Freight quite a bit this one, but I mean, we were cheap trying to make shit, not knowing it was going to be what it became.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm of the same opinion that Michael was back in the day. When I was first starting out, I wasn't too proud to buy offshore.
No.
I just wanted shit to get me going and to get me making and to get the ball rolling.
The most basic tools are what we had to start with.
Yep.
Yeah. Not cheap because you're trying to be cheap. Cheap because, like,
We didn't have any money.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know if like some of the stuff I suggested that's over, offshore now is going to last like this stuff did, but I don't know. I guess maybe we got lucky. But there's definitely more options and more versions of it.
I think that's the key, right? More choices for sure.
Another tip for all you guys wanting to make knives. Amazon has these LED sewing lights. They're like $15.
Oh, yeah.
Buy several of those. Put them all over your shop. They're great. They are fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys use those?
Oh, yeah.
See if it's the same ones I've been using.
Are these the ones that we talked about some at one point on a show that had like a magnetic base? They like stick
Yeah.
this. Yeah. Okay.
They're stuck to all my grinders.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
On the
Fuck
boxes.
yeah, I've got 3 of those
Tapping.
in the shop.
Yeah, they're stuck to everything on the tapping machine. Wherever I need. As I get older, I need more light, and I've got a lot of light in the shop, but not enough.
Yeah.
LEDs are so amazing. It used to spend $150 to get a machinist task light.
Right.
And
they
I've got
were
a couple
hot.
of those.
They were hot as shit.
Hot as shit. And I actually bought one off Amazon, which is like a modernized LED task light that is actually too bright, which I never thought would be possible.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that was possible either.
Like it reflects off the blade so much that I'm like, I can't fucking see.
It's funny because I keep trying to get more and more light, and Ben and Daniel, they've got safety glasses that are tinted now. So I'm like, you young bastards. But
They got transitionals that come in and turn black.
yeah, well, they're black to start with, so they're like walking around with shades in the shop.
Kids these days.
I know. I'm like, more light.
Yeah.
I'm in my office right now, and I replaced all the lights with super high output LED bulbs, and it's like daytime in here. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how I like it, man.
Yeah.
The mistakes hide in the dark.
But I think that was a great episode, guys. Good job.
Don't pat yourself on the back too hard.
Good Lord. 7 stars.
Yep. We're at 7 now.
Tom, yeah, he just, I don't know what it is about episode 122. This is the Tom flexes on everyone episode all the way through.
No, I think it's fun looking back. What would we pick? What tools would we pick? And I think we all picked some similar tools and some different tools. I mean, it's just amazing what's available now.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's a fun thought game, right?
That's what we do this for, to look at shit.
Little trip down memory lane.
It really was.
Yeah, you guys let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think about Tom mentioning, oh yeah, I got a Bridgeport. I never did anything with it, sitting back there in the back of the shop, big old tarp over top of it.
Not just a Bridgeport, one he had rebuilt.
Sounds like a sale ad to me.
We're getting ready to set it up. I've only had it for like 12 years.
You know how long you've been saying that?
This ain't eBay post a price.
About ready to set it up.
Yeah, any minute now.
Got it.
It's just sitting around back there. It's right behind my 4th mill.
Well, we were going to move it, and now I've decided that we're not going to move it. So now we're going to set it up.
Hey, Ben, it's yours.
They
There.
get it soon enough, man. They get everything.
Ben is going to
Not
turn
yet,
his nose
though.
up at a Bridgeport. He's going to be like, "Oh, where's the readout, man? How do I load the program?"
Yeah, that's the thing. We got to put digital readout and stuff on it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Setting it up isn't going to be inexpensive. So that's probably why it hasn't happened.
One tool. What the fuck?
Dad, I think this thing's defective.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Good times.
All right. So we do need to say thank you to our friends from Patreon, the guys from Giant Mouse, Bob and Susie. Thank y'all. And Knife Joy and Paladin 33. Again, thanks for
You guys rock.
thanks for helping us out with the show. We greatly appreciate you. And we hope you enjoyed this walk down memory lane, or maybe suggestions on stuff. Like Tom said, we're really interested in your feedback. There's There was minor beef between Tom and Sean. Tom didn't take the bait, which was shameful. But you know what? If you want to start beef, bring it into the Facebook group and tell these guys they don't have a freaking clue what they're talking about.
Tell us why we're wrong and tell us what you would get.
Tell us what you would get. That's what we really want to know.
Yeah. Especially if you have any good stuff. I'm sure we missed stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, well.
Come share your ignorance with us. Because controversy says. See that?
Yeah,
there's be an uptick. There'll be an uptick in participation.
Winning friends and influencing people.
Not our strong suit.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, all.
Thanks, folks. Good to be back.
Yeah.
We're back. To learn more about our makers, you can find Tom Krein on the web at KreinKnives.net, in his Facebook group, Krein Knives, or in his Instagram account, @KreinKnives. For Michael Birch, check BirchtreeBlades.com, Facebook group Birch Tree Blade Works, or Michael's Instagram @BirchtreeBlades. For myself and the Raygun Bead Project, we're on the web at RaygunDivision.com. We have a Facebook group called Raygun Division, or my personal Instagram @msteiner. For those interested in photos, references from the show, or some discussion about the show itself, you can find us on the web at markofthemaker.com, in a Facebook group called Mark of the Maker, or on our Instagram @markofthemaker. Last but not least, the ultra cool and haunting background music we use for the show is a piece called Noir Guitar by Stevie's Amp Shack, found at the Free Music Archive and licensed under Creative Commons CC BY 4.0. Thanks for listening.